Hey, what's up guys, BenzoFigures here, and today I will be going over how I made this custom comic Goblin Queen figure. Let's begin. I know I recently did a Goblin Queen review from the X-Men 97 series, and while that figure and design is great, I had to make the classic look. This custom isn't an original design for me, and the first time I did see this was on TheFwoosh channel. He had a pretty good detailed explanation on his custom, and I decided to try it out. His custom looked incredible and pretty intimidating to try to replicate, but I ultimately decided to replicate this with a few creative decisions and alterations. So let's just jump right into this. For this custom, I used a retro-carded Phoenix from Marvel Legends for the head sculpt. There's a bunch of great Jean Grey's head sculpts out there, but yeah, the retro-carded Phoenix is perfect for this. I happened to stumble across one for like $8, super lucky, and this kind of kickstarted this custom. I figured if I do mess this up, it wouldn't hurt the wallet too bad. The next figure needed is a Marvel Legends Shriek figure. This figure is pretty underrated. It is littered all over Ollie's for like $10, but it has a great new black base with updated and more articulated arms. You could use a retro carded Phoenix and just paint it black, but it's more prone to paint rub and stuff. So to play it safe, I use a Shriek figure for her arms and legs. For the lower torso, I too used a Dazzler base, since it'll be easier to paint skin tones on a white base. Luckily, I had a spare Dazzler laying around the fodder bin since I used the arms for a different custom in the past. But you can probably use a Phoenix or Shriek lower torso as well, to be honest. For the accessories, I used a Polaris figure for the cape. I didn't have a Morbius cape that TheFwoosh used, but that would have been perfect. I was also thinking about using Sleepwalker's cape since it's already tattered, but it was a bit too chunky, so ultimately I did use Polaris cape since it's a bit thinner and just had to cut that up. For this skirt piece, I used a waist piece from Adam Warlock. And lastly, I got the upper torso from Metaverse Customs over at Instagram. This last piece is what brings this figure together nicely, so shoutouts to him. Surprisingly, it wasn't too hard to attach the arms and lower torso to the piece. You do need to Dremel a little bit of the connecting arm pegs to get it to fit, but it wasn't too bad. I accidentally Dremeled a bit too much off the right arm, but I used a piece of sticky tack to get it to fit without the arm dropping off. For painting, be sure to use primer first. I used a white primer over the Dazzler part since I planned on using skin tone paints, and I used a black primer over the clothing parts. I used a brush tip black acrylic marker for touch-ups over the black primer to cover it completely. The red paint I used was Vermilion for the gem piece on the chest and inside the cape. Vermilion is pretty close to Phoenix's hair color, so it works out. Polished gold for around the gem. And for the skin tone, I want to say I used a mix of base skin tone from Model Colors and a drop or two of Sunny skin tone. Remember when using acrylic paint, always thin your paint to a milk-like consistency and paint in layers. It may be a pain and time consuming, but at least it will come out smooth in the end. I did try to use paint markers for the skin tone, but the marker tip made the paint come out looking a bit scratchy, so it's best to use a good old-fashioned acrylic paint and standard brush for now. To avoid another Wonder Woman custom disaster, I waited a day for the paint to cure before spraying a matte sealant over it. After the sealant is dried, then it's safe to assemble everything together. I superglued the cape on her shoulders, and I messed it up and it's a bit uneven, but oh well. After wrapping the waist piece around, I superglued the piece together to make it a bit more form-fitting. The toughest part was actually getting the head sculpt on, because Jean Grey's hair is so freaking large. So I took the bottom part and I moved it off to the side before attaching the head. And after assembling it, this was the final result. Here she is with some variants of her son Cable from Marvel Legends. Here's the love triangle, Scott and Jean. And here's some villains, Magneto and Apocalypse. Overall, this surprisingly wasn't too difficult to make. However, if you never customized anything before, I would probably try to get some experience in before attempting this. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, comment, and subscribe, as it does help out this channel a lot. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one.